Hello, everyone. Welcome to our West Coast Trail 2024 150 kilometer debrief live stream. I'm Mike Blake at MB Guiding, your Vancouver Island hiking guide. We're streaming on Facebook Live from the Sandwich Peninsula on southern Vancouver Island in beautiful British Columbia. Say hello in the comments, let us know where you're tuning in from, and we'll get started right away. Hey, Patty, welcome. Hi, Nadia. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Steve. Hi, Trina. Hey, David. Hi, Annette. Hey, Michelle. Welcome, everyone. We've got folks here from Langley, Mission, Comox Valley, Regina, Vancouver, Victoria, and Calgary. Awesome. So thanks so much for joining us. Let's get going. I just finished my second West Coast Trail trip of the season and wanted to share a trip report, some trail updates, and compare the two different directions I've been, Nobo versus Sobo. So if you missed our West Coast Trail 2024 season opener debrief after my first trip, you can watch the replay on our MB Guiding Facebook page, clicking on the live menu, and you'll see all of our replays right there. Awesome. Okay, so during the first half of the live stream, I'll share some of my trail notes. We'll look at some maps and stats. I'll also check out some photos and videos that I'm working on. And then during the second half of the live stream, we'll focus on gear and chat with a very special guest and our favorite West Coast Trail gear expert, Jesse Habenton from geartrade.ca will be joining us. So you'll definitely want to stick around for that. I'll do a quick intro and then we'll get into it. Hey, welcome everyone. All right, okay, so I'm Mike Blake. I'm an Association of Canadian Mountain Guides hiking guide, living and working on Vancouver Island. You may know me through our MB Guiding website or blog, or maybe you've heard about our guided trips and workshops before. I've been backpacking for about 45 years and guiding for about 20 of them. I specialize in outdoor education, instructing hiking and backpacking skills like trip planning, risk management, and wilderness navigation. I'm also a wildlife viewing guide and member of the Commercial Bear Viewing Association of British Columbia and the Interpretive Guides Association. My partner Lara and I started MB Guiding CA together about 10 years ago. Lara's a big part of MB Guiding, and she's our creative writer behind all of our online content. And Lara also holds the record for participating in the most MB Guiding trips and workshops. And she's on the live stream too, hanging out in the chat. So say hello to Lara. Hey, Monica. Hey, Wayne. Welcome. We've got folks now from Montreal, Kelowna. Nadia is asking about kilometers on the trail. So this is the 150 kilometer debrief, and I've done the trail twice this year. So divide it by 2, and that is your total kilometers on the trail. 75. That's how long it is. All right, so thanks for joining us there. We're going to give away a bunch of awesome prize packages today. Each prize package will include a copy of the 10th edition Blisters and Bliss. So just fresh off from Wayne Aitken, just met him earlier today. These are signed copies by the West Coast Trail legend, Wayne Aitken himself. Wayne's my neighbor. He just lives around the corner, so we got together for a coffee today. Shout out to Wayne. We'll also give away a West Coast Trail slug patch designed by Valerie Burton, the admin of the West Coast Trail Beautiful British Columbia Facebook group. And a West Coast Trail sticker back donated by Jesse and Michelle at Gear Trade. So we've got some stickers here as well, and whatever else we can squeeze in the envelope. Plus, I'm going to add in a one-to-one personalized coaching session for the winners to help you plan a trip. These are just like the personalized coaching sessions that our clients participate in when they sign up for our guided trips. So if you're keen to win a prize package, hang out with us for the next hour and be sure to comment in the chat. I'll share more details on how to win the giveaway towards the end of the live stream. Okay, who else do we have here now? Hey, Brett. We've got Kristen and Pam. Welcome, everyone. So we got Calgary, Orcas Island, Manitoba. Right on. Thanks for joining us. Just a reminder, we're only accepting comments from personal profiles, not from business pages. Please don't spam the comments because we'll have to take time away from the live stream to moderate them. So thanks for that. Let's get into the trip report. So I did a Nobo trip, northbound, July 7th to 13th. This was my second trip. Before that, it was May 1st to 4th, going southbound. So 2 different directions, totally different trips. The first one was solo recon. Ended up meeting up with Jesse Benton. We teamed up, did the trail in 3 nights, 4 days. My last trip last week was a guided trip with a group, and we did the trail in 6 nights, 7 days. So 2 different complete trips. And yeah, we'll talk about the latter one. If you're keen to learn about the first one, you can check it out on our replays. So if you want to participate in the live stream too, get in there, ask some questions. Participation in the chat's going to be a part of entering the prize giveaway. So post your questions in the comments and I'll answer them during the live stream. I'll also follow up afterwards in the comments for ones that get missed or for ones that are posted from anyone watching the replay. And the replay will be available shortly after the live stream concludes. Hey, Colin, welcome. Hey, Jill. Hey, Teresa, awesome. Okay, we've got more folks from Orcas. We've got folks from Mission and Calgary. Looks like we've got about 28 of you. If you know anyone else that wants to visit, check us out here. Just pass along the link. You can pass the live stream along, share it out to your friends and family. Natty is asking about what does the slug actual mean to the trail? Well, we all move like slugs out there, which are really, really slow. So that's what it is. It's the slow movement on the trail. Except for the ultra runners who do the trail in 9 hours, 32 minutes and 32 seconds, which is the record right now. Unbelievable. But they're also going super, super light. Okay, let's do the trip report. So I'm going to start off just sharing our website here. So I'm going on to mbguiding.ca. If you scroll down on our homepage, you'll see all sorts of posts here. These are all blog posts. Click on the West Coast Trail one. This is a trail guide, so an instruction manual for planning the trip. There's also a bunch of trip reports in there. I'm just working on our new trip reports from this year, but if you scroll down to trip reports, you'll see all the trip reports. So we're under construction. The last one was last May, so I got to get busy. I got 2 to catch up on. I got 3 more to do, so I'll be doing the trail 5 times this year. In the meantime, I'm going to share some stats with you. So this is the northbound trip report, July 7th to 13th. Day 1, Gordon River to Thrasher Cove. So we got picked up in Victoria by West Coast Trail Express. We had a private charter for a guided group. We got to Gordon River just for 9 o'clock. So we had an hour to get situated, get everything all dialed in before we got our permits and attended the 10 a.m. orientation session. We had all watched the video pre-hand, so that was a short session. It was about 20 minutes. And then we headed to the first crossing available to us. We got walked over by the Parks Canada representative to the Gordon River dock and got a ride with Butch in his beautiful brand new boat across the way. Well, let's see if we can share this. I think I got this working from earlier today. Let's try this out. This is something new. There we go. This is getting off the water taxi, or getting onto the water taxi, getting off the bus, heading over to the dock. And this is all on our Instagram stories. You can go check that out on our Instagram channel at MB Guiding. Walking down to the boat, getting on the water taxi, heading across the water, and getting off the other side. This is the south entrance at Gordon River, and then nice easy walk off. The boat was full and heading for the first ladder. So your first steps on the trail is right up to the first ladder, and it's the steepest ladder on the trail. One of them. Let's go over here and see where things went from there. This is in my Sunto app, so using my watch to log this. First day we went from Gordon River to Thrasher Cove. You'll notice right away 2 things that jump out. First of all, the distance, which is highly exaggerated, mainly due to the time on the trail. So we were on the trail from Gordon River to Thrasher Cove with my guided group for 10 hours and 11 minutes. Unfortunately, we had a heat illness in the group and we had to go really slow, like half kilometer an hour slow. It's the hardest part of the trail. You go to the highest part of the trail, and it was a really slow moving day. We got to camp just before dark and luckily got set up. Unfortunately, that participant couldn't continue the trip. That is why it took so long to get there. So when people say it can take a long time to get from Gordon River to Thrasher Cove, they're not kidding. The average time, though, is probably about 1 kilometer per hour for the 6 kilometers. The reason the distance is exaggerated because on a GPS watch, when you stop, it keeps collecting data. So the little bit of error that builds up gets compounded over time. So going back to Nadia's question, how long is the trail this year? It's still 75 kilometers, but a lot of GPSs over-exaggerate. So that's why people are getting 130 kilometers on the trail, which is way too far. It's 75, give or take a little bit here and there. but not give or take double. Okay, things got better the next day. We headed to Camper and we had a pretty good time. So we did the boulders in the morning. We got up there on the low tide, past Owen Point at the perfect tide, which was 1.8 meters. We got up onto the rocks there, and that was awesome. Let's see if we can get to the Thrasher Cove start here. So this is the morning at Thrasher Cove. Beautiful sunrise. It was awesome. We got into the boulders with our smaller group now, so we were a bit more efficient. Heading across the boulders. Things were going pretty good. Super dry. Everything's tacky. Some of us use poles. Some of us use just hands. Total personal preference there. It was super hot though still. We're in the heat wave. This is just last week. You can get a good gander of the boulders there heading towards Owen Point. I'm in my full sun suit top to bottom. Folks asked me if I was cold. Nope, I'm just protected from the sun. I've just got sunscreen on my nose and my cheeks, and everything else is 100% covered. It was a beautiful day out there. It was awesome. And then we got to Owen Point. There you can see the boulders in the back. Some of my group's down behind me. I'm up on a high point there, looking back now towards Thrasher Cove into Port Renfrew. Let's go to Owen Point. So we got to Owen Point. We were an hour and 45 through the boulders. We had a nice break at Owen Point. Got there at the perfect time. We met up with a couple of Parks Canada folks that were hiking the trail and chatted with them for a bit. They were from Tofino Unit. There's one of the fellows right there, a younger couple guys. They did the trail in 3 days, I heard. That's looking into the sea caves there. It was awesome. We had a really good time at Owen Point, and then we got into the shelves after Owen Point and headed up towards Beach Access A, which was perfectly timed to get into Camper Bay about 7 hours later. So our total distance, 9.5, it's actually 7 and a bit, so a bit exaggerated there, the error in the GPS. And then it was about 6 hours and 58 minutes. We thought that was a pretty good time. We started at 8. We got to camp 7 hours later. But that's taking lots of breaks. We work in about a 10-minute break every hour. And then we do a midday break that's a bit longer. Brett saying those Parks guys were doing 3 kilometers an hour at the Gordon Thrasher Junction. Yeah, that's pretty fast for sure. That's almost running speed. Compared to our half kilometer or usually 1 kilometer an hour, that's a lot faster. Okay, day 3. Camper was night 2. Day 3, we did Camper to Walbrand. So this was the 3rd day on the inland section, mostly all forest again. Did that in 8 hours. And that was a really smooth day. It was super dry in there. The bogs are really dry. Everything's dry. I mean, the most mud we saw on the trail was in this section, up around Walbrand Bog, I call it there, where the mud pit is. Heard a funny story of a fellow falling in there up to his waist at the beach on Camper. I won't name any names, but you may have heard of that story. Slipped off the log and went up to his waist in the mud bog, so it still is deep. Make sure you probe, make sure you stay stable on those logs. That was a really good day because that got us into position for Walbrand, which was now the easier part of the trail heading north from Walbrand. The next 4 days, except for the last day, were mostly on the beach. Collins admitting to the drop into the puddle. So that was Colin, told us the story at Camper. It was great. I met up with Colin. Hey, Colin. Shout out to Colin. Finally met him in person. And Brett, too. Met up with Brett Marl in person of the West Coast Trail app. First time I met either of them in person, so that was really cool. Met Brett at Thrasher. Shout out to Brett for helping us out with one of the packs coming down the staircase there. That was super helpful. Brett says Teresa lost a shoe in the mud bogs, ate a hole and the gator. Suction. Yeah, that's what happens. Paul's asking about temperature on day 1. So I've got a Kestrel weather monitor on the back of my pack, and it monitors all day. But I take specific readings throughout the day when I can do field weather observations, and I make sure it's in the shade for some time beforehand. And the high temperature is 25 degrees in the shade between Gordon and Thrasher. So that was super hot for the trail. Very hot. Dave's saying he did 6.25 hours Thrasher to Camper. That's a pretty good time. Dave had very challenging time in the boulders because there was rain and morning. Yeah, so when the rocks are slippery in the boulders, it's a lot trickier. David had 22 kilometers for Gordon to Thrasher. Yeah, that's over exaggerated for sure. There's that's the error built in there. Hey, right on, Kristen. That sounds awesome. Hey, Cragen, welcome. Cragen's chiming in from Salt Lake City. So, folks that are just joining us, Mike Blake at MB Guiding. We're doing a live trip report, and stick around. We're going to have on Jesse Habenton from Gear Trade for the second half in about 15 minutes, and we're going to do gear chat. So, right now, we're just going over the trip report. I'm showing you our daily stats here. So, let's get on with it. Wallbrand to Cribs. That was an awesome day. Oh, here, check this out. So, this is using elevation as the profile here. And you can see it's red. That means it's higher. Now we get into the coastal. It's yellow, which means it's lower, with the max of 55 just partway through. And that was going up to Carmana Light Station. This was one of our smoother days. It's mostly all beach hiking. And that's going from Wallbrand out on the coastal route the entire way. The only time we tucked inland was to get up and around the Carmana Light Station. As soon as we got to the light station, we had a nice break there on the grass and then dropped right back down on the beach and caught the low tide route through the best tide pools on the trail. So if you're keen on tide pools, definitely go check that out. Down below Carmana Lighthouse on the north end. There's epic tide pools in there full of giant green anemones, rock burrowing, urchins, tons of sea life in there. Really vibrant eelgrass. It's the best for tide pool viewing. I think it puts Botanical Beach to shame, and that's saying a lot. Our time here was 5 hours and 29 minutes, which was great. We left at around 8 a.m. each morning. That got us into camp, early afternoon. And Cribs is a really nice spot to spend time at in the afternoon. So we spent all afternoon and the evening there, which was great. Hey, right on, Cragen. Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's get to the next one here. I'm going to try to squeeze these all in before Jesse's popping on here. So this is our next day. This was a bit of a longer day. A couple of things went on here. So a little bit, we didn't get quite out the door. We didn't get quite out of the crab shack as we thought we would. We were there over 2 hours, which was a long stay. We got caught up in the noon rush. And if you want to get there and out of there quick, get there earlier than we did. So we were about 2 hours, 10 minutes or so at the crab shack. So that 8 hour and 50-minute duration, minus 2 hours and say 20 from that just at the crab shack, which is nice, super awesome, relaxing, resting. But it did, we were squeezing. It did put us back a little bit. We were just squeezing by the rocks south of Susiat. We couldn't get through the arch. We were too late for that for sure, which we wouldn't have made even if we were at the crab shack for a short time. But we just squeezed by the rocks just south of Susiat. We were there right at the time that it gets cut off, and we just jumped on there just in time. So that worked out pretty good. But we didn't get to camp till later that day. So it was a late arrival to Susiat. So we didn't have as much time as we liked at the falls. But what was nice, when we got to the falls, the sun just popped out because there was a bit of sea fog that day. And everyone else had already gone for their swim. So we were in there for the evening. We had the whole falls to ourselves. So that was awesome. But hey, James, welcome. Right on. James Miller, my hiking buddy from May 1st to 4th with Anne from last year when I met up with Jesse for the first time when we crossed paths. Brett saying Shelly's super short-handed. Yeah, we noticed that. Lots of patience. Absolutely. Definitely worth the wait. Just make sure you work that into your tide schedule. All right, let's go to the next day. So we had a nice rest at Susiat. Our next day was all coastal. I accidentally hit my stop at Darling River. So the first section, 5 hours and 47, that was from Susiat to Darling River. And then I had to start my watch again. The last hour or 55 minutes is to Michigan. So put those two together, we were about 6 hours, 45 minutes from Susiat to Michigan. And that was an awesome day. This is when we really realized the amount of gray whales just kept getting more and more and more. And that was about one of the biggest highlights of the trip, seeing so many gray whales, hundreds. I'm sure we saw over 100 gray whales, and they're all just lounging along the shoreline. So you look down the shoreline when you get good sight lines, you can see blowhole, 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 blowhole. And you see their fins sticking up, and they're feeding along there. And when I chatted with Lance at the Pachina on our day 7, he said that there was a flyover the coastline and they counted hundreds of whales. So there's hundreds of gray whales out there right now, which was awesome. Lots of whales, the most I've ever seen. It reminded me of a story at Chez Monique's years ago when it was open. There was a little boy there. We asked him how many whales were out there. off of Carmana Beach, and he said too many whales, which we thought always was very funny. And too many whales. This trip, there's definitely way too many whales for him. So hundreds of whales out there. It's just amazing. So let's finish this off. Day 7. This was our shortest time of the trip, and this was due to what we call back to the barn syndrome. Folks are really keen day 7 to get off the trail, and we were out. It's about 12K from Michigan to Pachina Trailhead, and we were 3 hours and 41 minutes, which almost broke the MB Guiding record, which is about 3.5 hours with another group that was super fast out of there. But we thought that was really quick, and we got to Pachina, and our driver, Jeff, came and picked us up early, so that was awesome. He came out and greeted us on the beach. We took the low tide route, missed the last ladders, which was great. Took the beach route right into Pachina. Jeff came out and greeted us on the beach, took some photos of us hiking in, and then we got an early pickup. So our van left an hour early. We were out of there at 12 p.m., and we had a nice 4-hour drive back on the new road out of Pachina towards Cowichan Lake, and then to Duncan and back down to Victoria. We got to Victoria at about 4 o'clock. So that was nice. We were an hour early. So yeah, that's the report, folks. Let's do a couple of more photos here. See what I got for you. So I've been posting photos on Instagram. We've got the first ladder here. This is a beautiful morning sunrise at Thrasher. Owen Point, perfect timing for the tide. And the West Coast Trail app was bang on for everything, for tides. Matches the charts exactly. This is leaving Owen Point on the shelves, heading towards Beach Access A. This was cool. This was at Camper in the morning, departing. This was a really neat sunshine rising through the tree and the sea fog that had come up the creek bed. And that's the Camper cable car there in the background, which we skipped. We only did one cable car on the whole trip, and that was at Klanawa. We looked at fording Klanawa, but it's going pretty good. Klanawa's got a lot of water in it, even with the drought. And if you're going to do a cable car, that's the one to do. The other ones, you could just walk right through the creek. You can see the creek down there in the back, that Camper. It's super dry there. You can just step stone across there. It was really easy walk across. Everything else, Walbrand and Carmana were shoes off for us because we wanted to keep our shoes dry, but it's sand surface, and it was really easy walk across. Here's the famous mud hole, folks. You're asking how muddy is the trail right now? It's this muddy. This is up at Walbrand Bog, and that's the famous mud hole, Colin. There you go. That's the spot. And yeah, there's workarounds there. You can balance on the log in there. Just don't fall in or you'll get wet. It's deep. You can probe with your pole. You'll see how deep it is. This was cool. This was at Walbrand Sunset. You can see the sea fog in the back, and there was these surf scooters, I think they were, or ducks. I didn't get close enough to check them out, but there was some type of water bird in there playing in the rocks, and there was really cool light on there. That was the creek. That's the outlet of Walbrand Creek right there. This is that really cool zone I was mentioning, just north of Carmana Light Station. There's amazing tide pools in here. I highly recommend getting in there. David got the same picture of the bog. Yeah, that's a famous picture there for sure. That's this one back here. That's the bog shot. I always like the bog shot, especially with the folks coming through there, because they've been anticipating this deep mud hole for, at least the whole trip, but even months in advance, we're talking about this in our trip planning stage. And people are always wondering how muddy it is until they get there and they see, oh, well, we got a couple of splashes on us, or maybe you fell in. Depends how well you did there. Okay, let's go to this amazing spot here. These are the tide pools just north of Carmana Light Station. That was a really cool spot. Bit foggy there. Made me think about that because I'm drinking my London Fog here. It's tea time at MB Guiding Studios here. Wayne's asking, was it safe to go on the side? Wayne, that's a good question. Let's go back to the bog. So two different angles here. One person's going straight through, which is my theory. I always go straight through. You're going to save distance and time by going straight. Often you go around an obstacle like this and it takes longer and you may get stuck in mud anyway. So if there's a way to go straight down the line, I think that's always the most efficient way. And I don't think it's any safer to go off to the side there. I always try to think like a wolf, like the wolves when they're hiking the trails, which they hike as well. They go in straight lines. That's the difference between wolf tracks and domestic dog tracks. Domestic dogs wind around like this, sniffing everything, and wolves go straight. So we try to hike like wolves. The person that's coming down the center here got there sooner, and they didn't fall in. So I would say it's no safer to go around it, and it may even take you longer. Back to the tide pool section here. Definitely go check out these tide pool, folks. They're amazing. Just be careful walking around there on the sandstone. You don't want to crush anything, but there are routes where people have been traveling on the deck there where it's already been walked on by thousands of people. So stick to those and try not to impact the little critters that are stuck to the rocks there. This route right here is an example. That's all sandstone, and there's hardly any barnacles on there. And the ones that are on there are already dried out, and just don't walk through the good stuff. This was cool. This was at Cribs, and Cribs was awesome. We had a really nice time there. Beautiful sunrise, sunset, and that's the crib in the back. One of our hikers walking along it for sunset. That was epic. Always a good spot for filming there. There's a moon up in the top left corner of that frame too. That was really awesome. And this is my rest of my group here. This is on the Chiwat Bridge, heading north just about at the spring. So if you're looking for water, I checked the spring beside the bridge and it was full of fresh water. So we could top up there. Yeah, so that is the end of the photos. Just checking the time here. Folks that are just joining us, this is Mike Blake at MB Guiding. Welcome. This is a live trip report on my northbound trip. It's just showing our route here on my Sunto. So all the different days. How did it compare to southbound? Good question. Northbound is more challenging to start for sure. It is rough and tough right off the beginning from that first ladder heading out of Gordon River all the way to Thrasher. It's the most elevation gain. It's rough trail. Your pack is the heaviest. It's a kilometer per hour, sometimes more, sometimes less. It's a hard way to start the trail. Starting at the other end, so say you did this in reverse, going from Pachina Bay towards Michigan is easier. So I would suggest if you want an easier start to go southbound. So that's a big difference between going north and south. The advantages and disadvantages, there's both. For logistics, some people would think it might be easier to drive to Gordon River and leave your car there, which is a great plan because then you could take the shuttle to the north end and hike south to your car, or you can take the shuttle to the north end or the reverse. Like you could do the trail the opposite way and take the shuttle back. So yeah, there's advantages and disadvantages. The north end of the trail is definitely easier than the south end. So if you want to warm up, start at the north end. If you want to just dive right into it, start at the south end. Right on, it looks like Jesse's getting ready here. I got some messages from him. He's going to be coming on here. Jesse, anytime if you're listening, just pop in the link there. We're going to get into the next part of the report here. So yeah, northbound versus southbound. They're both good. I would do both. If you haven't done one but did the other, you got to do the other. I always went northbound for years. I thought that was the best way to go to get the hard stuff done right away. But then I did it southbound and it changed everything. All right, so Jesse says he's in the group. He's waiting for host. Might be a different link, Jesse. Let's just get this sorted out here. Ina Shearer. It says it's on here. Jesse's trying to chime in. Just give us a sec here, folks. We're going to do some technical fixing up here. This is the link here. It should be. That's the one it says right there. James says southbound is his favorite. Yeah. Yes, you've done it twice, so you know. Jesse says it's waiting for host. Okay, it's going to just take us a couple of seconds to work through this. I'm going to reset the link. Create a new link. And then I'm going to share it. Copy. So just bear with us, folks. We're trying to get Jesse on here. I shared a new link. There's a new link. That should bring you into this spot. Try the new link there. There we go. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, folks. So we're getting to the second half of the live stream. And just a reminder about the giveaway. We're going to give away 3 awesome prize packages today. So we've got the Blisters of Bliss signed by Wayne Aiken, famous West Coast Trail legend. We've got the sticker packs from Jesse Michelle at Gear Trade. And we've got the famous slug patches from Valerie at West Coast Trail, beautiful British Columbia Facebook group. And I'm also going to throw in a one-to-one personalized coaching session to help you plan a trip. So make sure you comment in the chat and we'll give you some more details to win the giveaway towards the end of the live stream. Okay, let's get Jesse assigned here. And folks that are just joining us, this is Mike Blake at MB Guiding, and it's time to bring on our special guest. Let's all welcome our favorite West Coast Trail gear expert, Jesse Habenton from GearTrade.ca for a gear chat and Q&A. Hey,
How's it going,
Jesse.
everybody?
Hey,
Hey,
right
Mike.
on. Good to see you. How are you doing, Jesse?
I'm doing good. Yeah, sorry. I'm usually in the shop when we do these. I had to do it from home. Just the kids they're here. So, anyways, if you hear some banging on the door, that's probably my 3 and 5 year old. So,
Right on. Yeah, if they want
yeah,
to jump in the scene, that bring them on. That's
that's right.
awesome. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, why don't you give a short introduction for the new viewers here? Tell us the short story about Gear Trade. Who's behind Gear Trade? What does Gear Trade do?
Yeah, sweet. So, geartrade.ca is our website. It's basically a business. My wife and I have been running it for 5 years. We're outdoor outfitters. We kind of specialize in, I would say, like ultralight, cottage based industry equipment. We do carry a lot of other equipment, that you'll find at other retailers as well. But yeah, everything in our shop is kind of it's there for a reason. It's basically there because I want to be a user of it. And yeah, most of our business is e-commerce. We do have an actual storefront where we book by appointment. The reason being because it's just my wife and I. If you ever have any questions, just feel free to reach out. My cell is the one at the bottom of the page, or you can email me. So
Looks like lots of gear there. I had to scroll a far way down the page to get to the contact information. So why don't you tell us what's new in the gear world?
oh, dude, we are. It seems like every day we are adding new products, new products, new products. So yeah, I mean, it's constantly kind of evolving. Like we're constantly hearing about new things. Like alpaca wraps is a new kind of addition to our website. We started carrying pack wraps, which are really cool. Those are built in Colorado. Um, but yeah, it's just like it seems like the stack of inventory to enter is, the stack is growing quickly. So you can see a bunch of Z-Pack stuff there, some Helinox cots, not applicable for the West Coast Trail.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I'm at the core being, I am just a gear junkie. And so, it's basically just my desire to acquire all of these things.
Awesome. So you and I did a trip earlier this season together, like May, and
Yeah.
we had a couple of different kits going on. So I had the Durston backpack and the Durston tent, and you had the Z-Packs backpack and the
Solo.
Z-Packs tent. And now I see on your website you have Durston gear. So
Yeah.
what's going on here with the Durston versus Z-Packs battle supreme?
Well, I don't know if it's a battle, but I do think that when you go down the rabbit hole of ultralight gear, especially shelters and backpacks, I think for most people or for a lot of people, Durston is one end of a rabbit hole, and then Z-Packs is another. So I think they compete at very similar levels as far as quality, price point, manufacturing, all that stuff. To me, I mean. I don't know, man. Like I love my Z-Packs Plex Solo. That's what I use this year. I like the single pole design. It's really easy to pitch, really easy to set up. But I have been very tempted to take an X-Mid. I was looking at yours and just having the extra, floor space offset design. I mean, they do make Dan makes some really nice products. So I mean, it's to each their own. It's just yeah, they're both really nice. So
Okay, now after all that chat, I noticed there's a hyperlight system in the background there. So
Yeah,
what's going on with hyperlight? I don't know if you saw my picture of late, but I was like all hyperlighted up
double
because
fanny.
yeah, I had that was awesome. I didn't think of that until I actually put it on. I was like, this is cool. I've got double fannies. Uh,
Perfect. Yeah,
yeah, so what happened with me? I've been using the Durston Kakwa 55 all season. So all my personal trips, recons. When I saw you on the West Coast Trail, I was using it. My guided trips too, that were like 4 or 5 days, I could fit everything in there. 55 is perfect. But for the
yeah,
West Coast Trail, those 2 extra days, I just couldn't squeeze in all my guiding gear and 7 days of food into it. So I
yeah.
asked Dan, I was like, okay, when's the next level? Like, when's the 75 coming out? And so, yeah,
Oh,
you know how it is. You don't hear about it until it happens there.
yeah.
So, yeah, I ended up getting a Hyperlight, which I used to have a bigger one. I had the North
Order.
Rim 4400, which is a 75 liter pack. But I got the Porter from you, which was a super stripped down pack. It's like got no pockets really on the outside, but it was
Yes.
awesome. Yeah, the pocket's coming. I know. I'm excited. The back pocket. That's the only thing that was missing. So I put the
Yeah.
fanny bags on the front to give it an extra pocket. Plus, I had my shoulder pocket. Then I had my bear spray on the other side, and it has nice hip pockets built in there. So that worked out really good. But yeah, I'm super excited for my package tomorrow with my new Porter pocket that goes on the back of the pack.
I haven't checked the tracking yet, but I hope it arrives. So, but
I'll
yeah,
be.
I mean, if you ask me, like, dude, we carry so many different backpack brands, and I have, and I'll tell you the same thing when you come into the shop, right? And generally, when people come into the shop, we'll try on a bunch of these bags. Like, you'll try on a Durston Catclaw, you'll try on a Z-Pack Circle, you'll try on a Gossamer Gear Mariposa, you'll try whatever, all the top tier packs. But if you ask me what I personally have, well, I have 4 Hyperlight bags. Why? Because I'm a fanboy. I've got a 22, a 35, which is what I hiked this year, the West Coast Trail, which it was pretty packed full. Like the 35 waypoint is pretty maxed out. And then I used a 55 last year and the year before, and then I used a 70-liter Southwest, which is the pack behind me. So I mean, I just like what Hyperlight has going on, and I like that their packs really haven't changed in whatever 10, 15 years, and yeah, I just think they're a solid product. So
Okay, what about the difference between this is my question for you before we get in with the audience questions, which hopefully folks are going to start coming up with soon. So, folks, start asking your gear chat questions for Jesse here. We got him on for the next half hour. But my gear chat question for you, Jesse, to start us off is the difference between Dyneema and Ultra fabrics. And like, is that where everything's going now? Are we going all this into this Ultra and like the Dyneema is going to be left behind or what's happening?
yeah, that's a good question. To me, like, I mean, I think both of those materials, they're both composite materials. They both perform at very similar levels. To me, like Hyperlight makes every single one of their bags out of Dyneema, and they've decided not to switch. That is the bit, like that's what they've been making for the last 10 years, and they continue making it. A lot of new pack manufacturers, Denderson, Z-Packs, Bonfist, whatever, they're using Ultra 200, whatever it is, right? And the Allura, which is made on the island. There's all these new composite materials kind of coming out. And I do think that, yeah, like when you pick up an arc haul, it is ridiculously light. Like it's, I think, like just over a pound for a 60-liter. So as far as performance wise, like I don't know, like I do think that a lot of those materials kind of perform at very similar levels, maybe at slightly different weights. To me, what's interesting is like, okay, so we've gone from Robic nylon, which is really what you'll find in most of like Osprey or Gregory or the main manufacturers, and now we've gone to Dyneema and Ultra and Allura. And where's the tipping point? Like, where is the plateau of weight here? Like, how light can packs get? Are they going to be half a pound? You know what I mean? Like, we've kind of hit this
Yeah,
like
half
you
pound
said,
of
a
packs.
plateau of I don't know. Like packs have the design and the materials have progressed so exponentially. It'll be interesting to see 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what like what's the new pack on the block. But to me, I like DCF. I like Dyneema. Specifically for coastal hiking, I like black. It is a little bit thicker than the white. It's a little bit more waterproof. Like used us. It was a Junction 55 in black in 6 days of torrential monsoon rain, and it didn't leak whatsoever. The other benefit of all these composite materials is they don't absorb water.
Yeah, that's
So
a nice feature.
yeah, your pack doesn't get bogged down by rain and water. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as performance, I think they're similar for sure. So
Yeah, I noticed the waterproofness is amazing, especially when it comes to like the shelters, like your tarps and your tents. Like the Dyneema tent is like when it gets wet, you just shake it and
yeah,
the water
or
falls
white,
off of it.
yeah,
Yeah, or wipe
yeah,
it with a cloth. Oh yeah, we got the cloths.
yeah,
I'm watching for them. Okay, let's get to Q&A. We've got a few questions here. You ready to go? We've got
yeah.
I got 3 lined up so far. So let's start with Nadia has a question. What is the best sleeping pad that isn't crazy expensive?
Well, that's relative. That's what I typically tell people. Expensive is a relative kind of statement. But to me, sleeping pads, kind of the pads that we have in our shop, I think they range in price from about $100 to about $350, right? And to me, there's a pad that we've been using, our family has been using, and I used last year on the West Coast Trail and the year before, which is the Big Agnes Rapide SL. And to me, the reason why I like it is it's kind of middle of the road for price point. So it's $260 in a wide. So they come in different sizes. There's regular and there's regular wide. There's long wide. There's petite, whatever. So to most people, I think a regular wide is or a long wide in your height, Mike, would probably be the way to go. So I think $260. The R value is high, like it's 4.8, so pretty much Rockies, coastal. It's going to perform from May to October, no problem. The quilted style topping that you see, the kind of egg carton shape, the dimpling, makes it a much better and much more comfortable sleep than using something with horizontal or vertical baffles. And then the weight's reasonable. Like in a wide regular, I think it's like 340 grams, or sorry, 640 grams. So yeah, to me, like this is probably the best bang for buck pad. I used a Nemo Tensor this season, which is a Nemo Tensor Trail, which is a little bit lighter, but the R value is a little bit lower. So to me, it just depends on where you are, but I think the Repeat is kind of like it's probably the pad we sell most of in our shop, just because it checks all the boxes.
Right on. Yeah, it looks like a pretty cozy pad there. Um, what was the R value? 4.2.
4.8. They used to be 4.2, and then they came out with a little bit of a different
Oh, I see.
mylar
Yeah.
slash synthetic insulation. Now it's another 4.8.
Cool. All right. Right on. Thanks, Jesse. And hopefully that helps you, Nadia, there. And next question is from Annette. Annette is asking, is a jet boil really worth it?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I don't know. Again, it's like it depends on what rabbit hole you go down. To me, a jet boil is I mean, it's a quality product, right? Like they've been making that system, like whether it's a flash or a stash or mini mo, micro mo, whatever it is. They've been making those models for a really long time, and they're the first to kind of come out with that like system where it threads on and nests in. To me, the downside of a jet boil is they are quite heavy and they're very basic in function, in the sense that you basically can just boil water with it. To me, my personal preference is I like a Pocket Rocket Deluxe made by MSR or a Pocket Rocket. I pair that with a like a Toke mug or a MSR Titan pot, whatever it is. I think it's a lot lighter with the same kind of functionality. But I do see from a consumer point of view the ease of using a jet boil is typically a lot easier. It typically comes with a little piezo clicker and it nests right on. You boil water really quickly. It just comes at a little heavier weight, sacrifice. So, but
Right
yes,
on.
they are. To answer your question.
Yeah, cool. I've been using the jet boil stash. I just flashed up on the screen there. I really like it. It's like 200
Yeah,
grams and it's all self-contained and it's super efficient. And yeah, I've never tried a jet boil on a backpacking trip with the full system where it screws on,
yeah,
just for that weight reason. But I do have one for car camping, which is super handy. Like if you're car camping, you can just pull it out and make hot water like instantly anywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, so there you go, Annette. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay, we've got a question here from Paul. For a lightweight pack, do you recommend a personal fitting?
Yeah, I would say this happens often where people come in and they want a backpack. They have done a little bit of research and they've decided on this backpack, and then they come in and they try it on, and then they try on 3 or 4 other backpacks. And typically, sometimes they're like dead on the money, and that's the pack that they walk out with. But sometimes it doesn't fit properly, and they'll try something else on, and it'll typically fit a little bit better. So yeah, I mean, if you have the ability to come down to the shop to like try packs on, I would say yes. That's probably the best kind of way to go about it. However, I am very experienced and very good at if you call me and you're like, hey, this is my height, this is my weight, and if you can measure your torso size, that's even better. I could probably ballpark a fitting and be like, hey, like this, I think this would work well for you, but it is something that it's kind of like footwear, right? Like you want to try it on, you want to see how it feels on your body, and then see if it checks all the other boxes for features and bells and whistles. So
Right on. There you go, Paul. Hopefully that's helpful. Oh, this is an interesting question because I was just chatting with you about this the other day before I figured it out. But this is from David. David's wondering about a Leatherman tool. The one that he has, it sounds like, is 0.5 of pounds. What kind of tool equivalent do you use?
yeah, so I used to take a Leatherman. It was what was it, a Leatherman Wave, I think. With it had like the saw and the knife and the pliers and like all of the things. And I took it for many years, right? And when I was guiding, for sure I would take it. But now that like my goal is to take something that's lighter and smaller and more efficient, I just found myself never using any of the equipment on it. And so now, if you ask me what I take as far as a knife or a tool, really, I take one of these, which is, and it's funny, they're literally all over my desk because I use them in the shop all the time, and then I come home with them in my pocket, and I'm always worried that I'm going to drop one on the floor and one of my kids is going to find it because they're bright colored, right? So, anyways, my desk has got a bunch of them. But yeah, basically what this is it's called a Dermasafe safety knife or razor, and basically it is literally just a razor blade attached to a little plastic handle. And the reason why I like this is because it's incredibly sharp. It is kind of like single-ish use, like you'll use it for maybe a season or 2 trips or whatever it is until it's dull, and then you'll replace it. But to me, I found myself, the only time I ever used my Leatherman was when I was cutting rope or cutting packaging open or cutting, like it was just cutting something. And to me, the weight difference between this and a Leatherman is, it's hundreds of grams. And so to me, I think this is a really functional product, and that's what I take. So
Right on. And from my point of view, like for guiding, I have like the latest Leatherman possible, which is the Skeletool CX, I believe it's called. Is that the one that I got?
yeah,
Yeah. And it's a blade and it has the pliers with cutters, which is super handy if you have a group of people that have equipment that may or may not break depending on them. And they don't have any tools. So from a guiding perspective, I carry that. It's also got my blade on it, but it also has this really cool thing on this one. It's got a screwdriver driver on it where you can put in. There's a set of bits you can get for it. So I got that set of bits. It's got like 40 bits of all different sizes for like any trekking pole, any screw anywhere. It's got
your
like
sunglasses.
Allen keys, sunglass. It's got the sunglass
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, it's got all that. So that for guiding, I'd bring that. But on my own personal trip, I just have like a simple little blade, but not that simple. Not
yeah.
the
And,
razor
and
blade.
to me, it really comes down to like it's the same thing that applies to my first aid, right? Like, what situations are you going to find yourself in where you're going to require blank equipment, right? So like,
Yeah.
I think about like a multi tool, like okay, broken tent poles, maybe tent pole, like the interior of a tent pole. I don't know, maybe some like a metal clasp on a boot or something. But yeah, it just the same thing applies to my first aid, right? I just think about the situation and what I would need for that situation.
Totally. All right, just a quick question from Rob, not gear related, so I'll just grab that one, and then we'll do a couple more for Jesse, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. So Rob's asking about bugs. So Rob, there was bugs at Thrasher Junction, and that's the only place we saw bugs on the whole trip, and they were nasty there. So you don't want to stop at Thrasher Junction for more than 10 seconds, because once they find you, they're swarming. So in the forests between Gordon River and Thrasher, there were some mosquitoes and some flies, but we didn't notice any bugs anywhere else. So we didn't need a head net. We didn't use spray. I had a couple of Benz wipes just in case. And for the mice question, I saw mice. They're around for sure. But yeah, just keep your food protected and they shouldn't be a hassle. Don't put any food in your tent and then you won't have any coming through. Okay, back to gear chat. A couple more for Jesse here. This one's sleeping bag related from Rick. Rick's asking about sleeping bag temperature rating for first weekend in September.
Yeah, so to me, if you're shopping for a sleeping bag, typically I tell people to buy something that's going to last them the entire kind of backpacking season, unless you've got money to burn and you just want to buy one specifically for one trip. But to me, like if you're in the Rockies, I would say kind of a -6-ish bag is probably what most people would want. And then like you could apply that to the West Coast Trail, you'd just be probably overly warm. And then like if you're buying just a straight coastal bag, I think a -1 or even possibly a +5 would kind of work in that situation. Regardless of that, though, like if you're in the market for a sleeping bag, I would highly suggest you look at a quilt. I think both Mike and I both use quilts. We sell 95% quilts over sleeping bags in their shops.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Big time. So yeah, the brand, we carry about 6 different quilt manufacturers. The brand I would recommend is Enlightened Equipment. I've used a -6 on the West Coast Trail in May and really found it to be kind of a perfect bag. I've also used a -12. The benefit of a quilt is temperature regulation is really easy. So I typically tell people to over pad the temp. So if you're a cold sleeper and you're going out when it's like 0 degrees, get a -6 or a -12. It's really easy to open it up like a blanket, and then you just regulate your temperature that way. But then the weight is really, so it's like comfort, weight, pack size, like all those things are just substantially better than a sleeping bag in my opinion. So, but yeah, in around
Totally.
-6, -1.
Yeah, I agree too. And like, I just get one quilt. It's a -6. I use it for all season. And I just change my base layers depending on the outside temperature. This trip, our low temperatures at night last week were 15, 16 degrees, which is really warm on the coastline. So
Yeah,
I was sleeping on top of the quilt in my shorts, which was nice. I had extra cushion underneath. It was super cozy. I had the vestibules opened up, so the breeze is coming through. It was perfect, perfect sleeps. So
it's warm.
yeah, James says he's looking for a solution to seal a leak in his quilt. Every time he rolls over, air comes in.
What? What do you? I don't understand. I'm
Yeah,
confused. What
well,
do you?
James, you're gonna have to set up a personalized consultation with Jesse to solve that issue, whatever it may be.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like he needs a new quilt, eh?
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. All right, Julia, welcome. Hey, Julia, no worries. You can watch the replay. It'll be up shortly after we finish here in a few minutes. Does anybody else have a final questions here for Jesse? I'm just scrolling back up and see if I missed anything here. Somebody's talking about the Sea to Summit Ether Light
It's a nice.
as a pad.
Yeah, a little heavier. We don't carry that, so I'm not biased. That's a pad that we have chosen not to carry. I would say we carry all the other top pads on the market, but I would say Etherlite is like it is up there as far as durability. Weight's a little higher. Our value is really good. If you have that pad already, that's a fantastic pad. If you're in the market, I would say it competes at the same level as like a Thermrest NXT, a Nemo Tensor, a Big Agnes Repeat, like any of the top pads.
What pad are you using right now?
I used a Tensor Trail this year on the West Coast Trail, and I really liked it. I found the comfort to be like fantastic, not a lot of noise. Pack size was fantastic. Weight is really, really good. If I was using it in the Rockies, it might be a little bit cold because it only has an R value of 2.3. If I was taking one just for my personal trips, I would probably take a Tensor All Season, or I would take my Rapide. I usually take my Rapide because when I go out with my kids, because the durability is a little bit higher than a Tensor. The weight's higher, but the durability is higher because it's a heavier denier. And my kids like to, when we set up our tent, they like to jump on our pads and just cause a ruckus. So I'd
Yeah,
be
for sure
worried
they do.
Worried about them popping my tensors. So
But none of them came smashing through the door behind you for the whole live stream.
I
So
can hear
they're
spoons and forks clicking behind me. So I think they're feeding.
cool. Yeah, they're quiet when they're feeding, right?
Right.
Awesome. Okay, well, we won't keep you too long here, Jesse. We're going to start wrapping up so we can give away those awesome prize packages. And folks
Sweet.
that are just popping in right now asking questions, Jesse and I will jump into the comments after the live stream and answer those for you whenever Jesse's finished dinner. And yeah, the questions come right at the very end. So we're just wrapping up, folks. We got to finish this off. Okay, so it's time to conclude this live stream and get to the giveaway details. We just shared a ton of info with you. Some of it was valuable, hopefully, and help you plan safe, fun, and successful trips on the West Coast Trail in 2024 and beyond. Make sure you go check out our website. So go check out the geartrade.ca website and start putting your gear list together. There's a wish list function on there, which I love using, and you can start adding things up and then chat with Jesse, contact him. Oh,
that actually got removed. So they discontinued that product. So Michelle and I are looking for a new one of those.
Oh, okay, because that was an awesome thing. I had my wish list and then I just hit buy.
Awesome.
Okay, so they're going to have the wish list again soon, folks. Also, check out our mbguiding.ca website to help you plan your trips. There's lots of info in there on the West Coast Trail, instructions there to plan it, and the trip reports from previous trips. So now it's time for the giveaway. So first, you had to post a comment in the chat to enter. Second, you go to our MB Guiding Facebook page. Click on the message button and send me a message with a list of your top 3 gear recommendations for hiking the West Coast Trail. Third, I'm going to use a random picker to draw the winners and then cross-reference with Messenger to verify and contact the winners with instructions to claim your prizes. So good luck. Just a reminder, these are the prizes. We've got 3 blisters and bliss, 3 slug patches, and a sticker packs from Jesse and Michelle. Oh yeah, this is a cool sticker too, the tree. And then personalized coaching sessions with MB Guiding. So I just did one of those just before this live stream and it was super fun. So right on, thanks for joining us again, Jesse. Do you have any final words for the viewers?
Have fun out there. I mean, it's like mid backpacking season, so
it is good right now. Yeah, conditions are optimum, almost too dry and almost too many whales. Yeah, it's awesome out there right now. I'm heading out for my meeting tomorrow with the group, and then we'll be back on the trail on Friday for mission number 3, heading northbound again. So yeah, I'll let you know how that all goes, and I'm excited to try out some of my new Gear Trade equipment.
Awesome.
Right on, Jesse. Looking forward to the next one with you. We'll set it up sometime in the summer here. Awesome. All right, guys, right on. Thanks, Jesse. Cheers. Right on, folks. So we're planning out our summer live stream schedule and would love it if you could comment on what you'd like us to see do next. More trip reports, special guests, gear chats, any other ideas. Just let us know what you're interested in by posting in the comments, and watch our event posts on our social channels. Click on our Facebook events to get notifications when we go live again. If you enjoyed this live stream, give a thumbs up, leave a comment if you're keen for more. You can also share the replay, share our websites, and share our social channels too. So that's all for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week and see you on the trails. Bye-bye.